Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you back to your planet, my planet, our planet, planet HOGG. And man, I was listening on the way home today. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Alex Jones and Tim Dillon, and I didn't get to finish it, but I'm like an hour into it. I feel like I have to listen to it in segments because they're talking about some shit, and they're talking about satanic cults that do gay shit and burn children, and man, they're talking about some shit, man. They're talking about some shit. It's already got 3 million views. It's only been up, I think, for 14 hours at this point. 14, 12 hours, something like that. But it's already got 3 million views. I can't see a situation where, I don't know. I don't know how that video hasn't been flagged. I don't know how that video hasn't been flagged. But if you haven't checked it out, man, go check it out. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I won't say crazy. It's it's intriguing. It's There are a lot of very fantastical elements to it. I'll put it that way. But for the most part, just about everything, and Joe Rogan does a good job of this, especially I guess with somebody like Alex Jones on his podcast, who has a bit of a reputation. But he's doing a good job of kind of quote unquote fact checking them as they go along. But yeah, I'm only an hour into it. I need to kind of cool my brain off, and then I'll hop back in and finish it up. But man, I want to talk to you guys today about this bedlam in Philadelphia. Happened a couple days ago at this point, and I've just kind of been soaking it in. But for those of you who don't know, there's been another shooting, police involved shooting of a black male. This man's name was Walter Wallace. He was wielding a knife, coming towards the police, and police shot him. And now people are rioting. So I'm actually going to read this article here from the New York Post. Shout out to the New York Post. Yeah, I'm going to read this article from the New York Post. Headline reads, "At least 30 Philadelphia cops injured during riots over police shooting of Walter Wallace." It's from October 27th. At least 30 Philadelphia cops were injured by early Tuesday as violent mobs torched squad cars and charged lines of officers in a night of carnage sparked by the police shooting of a knife-wielding man. You know what? Shout out for the New York Post for not putting black man. And also, let's see if they actually do it. Oh, I'll have to look. I'll have to look and see if they capitalize the B. Let's see. Organized protests gathered at a park chanting Black Lives Matter. Soon after news broke of the 4 p.m. death of 27-year-old Walter Wallace, who was shot by police after refusing to drop a knife. Hundreds of people then swamped the streets, leading to at least 33 arrests by early hours on Tuesday on charges of rioting, assault on police officers, looting, and possession of firearms, ABC News said. The carnage was caught in a series of disturbing videos on social media, including a speeding black truck that ran through a line of officers, hitting a 56-year-old female sergeant. She remained hospitalized with a broken leg and other injuries, NBC Philadelphia said. Other footage shows dozens of people chasing a large group of officers down the street, as well as clips of a line of officers behind shields being attacked with rocks, bottles, and garbage cans. Police told NBC that a fire department vehicle and 5 police ones were vandalized, with footage on social media showing at least one police car in flames in the middle of the street. Other footage shows a looter rummaging through the front of an abandoned police van. At least one police station was also attacked, according to CBS Philadelphia, with windows smashed and graffiti, including "ACAB, short for All Cops Are Bastards. Looters also hit several Rite Aid stores. Okay. Looters also hit several Rite Aid stores because, you got to get your Tylenol PM, I guess. All right. Clothing and shoe stores and one restaurant with clothes and merchandise strewn across the sidewalk, ABC said. The glass screens of at least two ATMs had been bashed in. By early Tuesday, the Philadelphia Police Department confirmed that at least 30 officers had been injured during the riots, mostly from being hit by bricks, rocks, and other assorted debris, ABC said. But the female officer hit by the truck had been treated and discharged, ABC said. Video of Wallace's fatal shooting showed him walking towards the officers as they had their guns aimed at him, refusing to back away before being shot. His father claims he was hit 10 times. The officers' names were not immediately released. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw said the investigation is underway. Uh-oh, Danielle Outlaw. All right, let's see what happens. Our thoughts and prayers are with these police officers who had to use lethal force to keep themselves and the community safe, he said in his statement. Oh, Danielle is a he, huh? That's weird. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. I might have skipped a paragraph here. Yep, there it is. Philadelphia's Fraternal Order of Police President John McNesby said officers are now being vilified for doing their job and keeping the community safe. Our thoughts and prayers are with these police officers who had to use lethal force to keep themselves and the community safe, he said in a statement, adding that they too are traumatized. Outlaw, who arrived at the scene a short time after the shooting, said she heard and felt the anger of the community. All right. Everyone involved will forever be oh, Jesus Christ. Don't start talking like a fucking woman, please. Everyone involved will forever be impacted, she said in a statement, adding she will be leaning on what the investigation gleans to answer the many unanswered questions that exist. Okay, so nothing. Nothing. All right. Mayor Jim Kenney claimed that the video of the shooting presents difficult questions that must be answered by a full probe. I look forward to a speedy and transparent resolution for the sake of Mr. Wallace, his family, the officers, and for Philadelphia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another case of the predatory hunters known as police killing an innocent and otherwise well-to-do black man. No doubt a culinary student, an aspiring rap artist, possibly. Yeah, we have another issue that justifies looting a Rite Aid and smashing ATMs, yep, and running over a female police officer that's damn near a senior citizen. All of these things. Okay. Well, before I get into this, because that's from the New York Post, right? So the New York Post headline, like I read to you, reads, at least 30 Philadelphia cops were injured during riots over a police shooting of Walter Wallace. The NBC News headline reads, Walter Wallace Jr. struggled with mental health issues, family says. Okay. And obviously this is more of a, I'm not even going to I don't even know. I don't know if I have the energy to read this. Between Rogan melting my brain and this headline, I can guess what's going to happen, right? This is going to be a puff piece that kind of softens up Walter Wallace's image, right? We're going to hear about how he's a great person and how he's trying to better his life. And all right, let's just read it just for the hell of it. Walter Wallace Jr. struggled with mental health issues, family says. This is from NBC Philadelphia. Depression is real. That's something we have to look at as a society. How we engage and we interact when those happen. What? How we engage and we interact when those... This must be a quote from somebody in his family. How the police respond when you deal with a crisis situation. A day after he was shot and killed by two police officers, sparking protests. That's supposed to say riots. And a night of civil unrest in Philadelphia. That's how they clean it up, right? Protests and a night of civil unrest. Like these two things were running concurrently. Like it wasn't just one big thing. Like I'm here for the protests, they're here for the unrest. Got it? Okay. Family members of Walter Wallace Jr. are speaking out, describing him as here we go. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Describing him as a husband, father, and aspiring musician who struggled with mental health issues. This is so fucking sad, man. This is so pathetic. I'm sorry. Okay, let me keep reading. Mental health is real, Sam White, Wallace's cousin, told NBC 10. Depression is real. Okay, this is the person that made the quote. That's something we have to look at as a society. How we engage and how we interact when those happen. Okay? How the police respond when you deal with Jesus Christ. Well, that's part of the problem, right? It's people are fucking stupid. They can't even speak, let alone apparently behave in society. One Monday, Philadelphia police responded to reports of a person screaming, as well as a report of a 27-year-old male assaulting on Monday, police responded to reports of a person screaming, as well as a report of a 27-year-old male assaulting an elderly female at a home on the 6100 block of Locust Street. 27-year-old male assaulting an elderly female. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Walter Wallace is 27-year-old male. Let me go back to the New York Post article. Broke of 4 p.m. death of 27-year-old Walter White, who was shot by police after refusing to dress. Oh, okay. Just a little bit of reading between the sources here. We have divined the cause of the situation. He was in the process of assaulting an elderly woman. So obviously a hero of high moral standing. And again, justifying all these riots. You know, you have to pass, I've said this before, I will continue to say this. Mental health or not, right? Because mental health issues are real. They're really overblown. And by that, I mean, you know, yes, there are people who have mental health issues. I'm not denying the existence of mental health issues, but I am also simultaneously acknowledging the preponderance of people who are using that as a crutch. I am also acknowledging that we have a society where people are taking less and less accountability for their own mistakes, failures, bad decisions, whatever. Taking less and less accountability for anything negative that happens to them. There's always some kind of mitigating circumstance of which they had no control over. And I'm sorry, the fact that people allow this to happen, you know, people like me who call this out and say, no, you didn't have a mental health issue. And you know what? Most of you people who say you have mental health issues, you don't. You're just maladjusted. You just don't know how to behave. You don't have discipline. You have low character. We're not the assholes. The assholes are the people who are faking like they have mental health issues, right? Like that's my beef with kind of how I view the whole Me Too thing. Where it's like, no. I'm not an asshole for saying I don't believe you. Prove it. You're the asshole for faking rape. But not to digress. But yeah, we do have this problem, and I feel the same way about you see these people with these goddamn service dogs, and that really pisses me off because they're there to serve a purpose for the handicapped, for obviously for blind people, for military veterans who sustained mental, if not physical, injuries while in combat. But now, you know, you got these little fucking fat, pimply faced, purple haired bitches walking around with their dog, and it's a service dog, and it's not. It's attention. It's I don't want to leave my dog at home, so I found this loophole that I'm going to exploit. It's really sad, but it points to a greater issue. And I think it's also being highlighted by these protests, right? And the issue is people have gotten significantly worse in our society. And, it's somewhat platitudinous to say, people suck, people suck. But no. I mean, seriously, the quality, the character of the people in this society now has severely dropped off. Severely dropped off. To the point, like I said, reading this article where you have Walter White, who is assaulting an elderly female. I can remember a time, I'm not that old, 35. I can remember a time where that would be, if you heard of something like that, it would be extremely rare. But it seems like every one of these cases involves a man assaulting a female. Whether it's Jacob Blake, whether it's now Walter, what's this idiot's name? Walter Wallace. And then whoever in this riot that drove a truck over a 56-year-old lady, police officer, yes, but a female, and an elderly female at that. The problem, the greater issue here is people have gotten significantly worse, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's our own kind of hedonistic pursuits. I don't know if it's the disillusion of the family and family values. I don't know if it's the disillusion and the kind of disengagement from practice religion. I don't know what it is, but people have gotten significantly worse. And you have to excuse that. The construction crew is out there doing their thing. But, that's really annoying. That's really annoying. Well, anyway, I don't know if it's that. I don't know what the fuck it is, but people have gotten significantly worse. And I mean, look at these riots. Okay. Number one, I think we've crossed a new threshold in American society where rioting has become normalized. And that's a very dangerous ground to tread upon, because the inevitability here that all of the chess players in the room, all of the forward thinkers in the room have already arrived at is we know how this ends. This ends in police state-like lockdowns, authoritarian infringement upon the First Amendment. And I'm not even talking about from the left, because we're getting it from the left right now. Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You say certain things they don't like, they take you down. Twitter. I'm talking about from the right, because play this thing out. People see the riots, they panic. They say, okay, we need to lock this down, make me feel safe. Basically, make me feel safe. And when people want to feel safe, they vote for Republicans, period. When people want to feel good, they vote for Democrats. But right now, people want to feel safe. So make me feel safe. Okay, Republicans. As I'm recording this, I am fully expecting to see Pennsylvania swing red in this election. Fully expecting it. But that aside, people will start voting Republican, and what they will want is law and order. They will want this to stop. Just make it stop. I don't care what you do, just make it stop. Right? And conservatives tend to adhere more frequently to the rules, which is why when you see these violent clashes, it's usually people who are aligned with the left, instigating the violence, perpetrating the violence en masse. So what you'll have is people voting red, and they'll want more rules. They'll want more regulation. They'll want more of this, more of that, until eventually the fist closes. And we start to lose some of our liberties in the name of security, in the name of keeping the order. And then the people in the middle, people such as myself, we are the ones who bear that brunt. Because then it's like, well, wait a minute. Why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? Now we have to fight against this machine that we created to protect ourselves from people who want to riot. And it's just unfortunate that, again, used to be a time where the First Amendment, we don't have to worry about it. It's there. Everybody understands it. There's an unwritten code of behavior. There's maturity. And there's certain lines we don't cross. Like we don't riot just willy-nilly. We don't riot for criminals. We don't riot for rapists. We don't riot for abusers. We don't riot, for drug addicts. We riot when our football team loses. No, but, it's just this flagrant abuse and this goddamn saw outside, but mainly this flagrant abuse of our First Amendment rights. And we all know how this ends. This ends with authoritarian-like lockdowns. This ends with curfews. This ends with no crowds of greater than this. This ends with more police on corners. And we're watching it happen, and there's really, I don't know what to do. I don't know what there is for us to do other than to let it play itself out. You hope these people see the error in their ways, but the problem is most of these people are stupid. Most of these people are stupid. And they're either stupid in the academic sense where they are literally an unintelligent person, or they're stupid in the sense of naivety because they're getting caught up in the wrong cause, right? They see Black Lives Matter. They hear the headline, a black dude gets shot by a white cop. And because they believe that there's an issue with police brutality against blacks, racial injustice against blacks, however you want to phrase it, however you want to frame it, because they believe that's an issue and because that is a button issue for them, they're getting themselves involved and giving political cover to people who just want to loot Rite Aid. Right? What does looting Rite Aid have to do with anything? What does smashing an ATM, trying to get into an ATM, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. So, what is burning a fire truck, or it was some kind of fire department vehicle, they said. Burning some kind of fire department vehicle. What does the fire department have to do with this? Nothing. And, we know where this goes. We know how this ends. But it just seems that people are content to play this stupid game and keep teetering and teetering and teetering closer to the edge until you get what you came for. And that's going to be authoritarian lockdowns. So, I feel terrible for this, obviously for that lady, that police officer who was run over. I mean, she's 56, I think it said that she was, so she's not far from retiring. But now she's got to probably deal with that for the rest of her life because people don't heal as well as in their 50s, damn their 60s, as they do in their 20s. Especially a woman, bone density becomes a problem for them anyway with osteoporosis. That's a real concern for them. So she's probably going to have ramifications from this for the rest of her life that aren't pleasant, in addition to the trauma of being run over by a goddamn truck. So my heart obviously goes out to her, goes out to these cops in Philly, the ones that had to make this shooting because some idiot with a knife, and again, I would defy someone to show me otherwise, convince me otherwise. Why would this man come at the cops with a knife? Well, my answer is because he knows he's black, they're white. I dare you to shoot me. You won't shoot me because of all the riots. There's political pressure now for the cops to acquiesce, for the cops to submit. And I'm glad these cops didn't submit. I'm glad they shot his ass. I'm glad they shot him 10 times. I'm glad, you know what? And 10 seems fair. 10 seems very, very, very light. With 2 guys there shooting, 10 seems very light for a knife in close quarters. You got to pass the Charles Darwin pop quiz. And when you're Walter Wallace and you're there assaulting an elderly lady, and the police show up and they draw their guns because you have a knife and they say, drop the knife, pop quiz. That's a pop quiz moment. Charles Darwin said, okay, Walter, you're in a situation. The cops have their guns on you. You have a knife. What do you do? And he said, I charge at them and try to kill them because they're the pigs. And Charles Darwin said, you fail, sir. A goodbye. So, look, you have to pass the Charles Darwin pop quiz. You have to exercise some modicum of common sense in your daily interactions. And if you don't, especially when you're a violent criminal, I won't call him a felon, I don't know his background, willing to bet that he's got a couple of arrests, a couple run-ins with the law, willing to bet. Call it a hunch. Call it a hunch. As a matter of fact, while this stupid saw is going in the background, let me look it up. Let's look up Walter Wallace's criminal history. Oh, well, this is interesting. Let's see. Walter Wallace Jr., Walter Wallace Jr. Walter Wallace Jr., who was shot by Philadelphia police, had a criminal history. Rapped about shooting cops. Wow. Okay. Who would have thunk that, though? Okay, let's see. He was an aspiring rapper. Of course he was. I think we covered that in my first guess. But notice how NBC says aspiring musician, because it softens him up more. Right? Notice how the NBC article, when I read it, said he is an aspiring musician. Well, a musician could be pianist. Musician could be a celloist. Musician could be a violinist. Musician could also be a rapper. But you don't say rapper because that invokes... That detracts from people's sympathy. Because when people think of rap, they think of an anti-police culture. And as it turns out, that's what he was rapping about. Okay. Rhymed about shooting police, including police officers, and was awaiting trial for allegedly threatening to shoot a woman. Jesus Christ. Okay. Court records obtained by the news outlet show Wallace had a criminal history. In 2017, he pleaded guilty to robbery, assault, and possessing an instrument of crime. Authorities said he kicked down the door of another woman and put a gun to her head. Okay, so this is, just a wonderful person. Look, I don't think that surprised anybody listening to this. It certainly didn't surprise me. Because there's a certain element that does stupid shit like this. There's a certain element that threatens elderly women. There's a certain element that charges the police with a knife. There's a certain element that does that. Well, that is one scumbag down the drain. I do not care. I sincerely hope that this police commissioner... What's her name? Danielle something or another. Where is it? Let me scroll down here. Danielle Outlaw. That's a very interesting and ironic name for a police officer, but okay. Danielle Outlaw. I sincerely hope that she has more moral conviction and fortitude and integrity than whoever that Atlanta police chief was that tossed those cops to the wolves for the... what was that guy's name? Rayshard Brooks or something, I think his name was. So I hope that this police chief has more scruples than that. I sincerely hope she doesn't bow down. But I'm not optimistic. I really am not. I hope she's more of a Carmen Best. Carmen Best. As far as everything I've read, she did the right thing. She stood by her people. She didn't throw people under the bus. She got dealt a raw hand. They said, we're going to defund the police. She said, all right, fuck you guys, I'm out. Respect, 100% respect. So we'll see what Miss Danielle Outlaw does. Other than that, man, you know, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care that this man lost his life. He chose poorly. Like the Indiana, he chose poorly. Yes, he chose poorly. And from the looks of his rap sheet, partial pun intended. But seriously, from the looks of his rap sheet and the stuff he's been accused of, the stuff he was committing when they showed up, he doesn't look like he was in the process of rehabilitating his life, regardless of whatever ballad of triumph his family wants to sing about him posthumously. This guy was scum from everything that I've seen. And even if he was rehabilitating his life, guess what? He was still scum. So, addition by subtraction, everybody honor his memory today by going to the toilet and flushing, and the rest of us will move on. Unfortunately, the Philadelphia police are, going to have to deal with the backlash of this because people are stupid and emotionally triggered. So, hopefully, things go as smoothly as they can and we transition back to a point of normalcy. But who are we kidding? I think this has become the new norm. By the way, this is why you don't want to defund your police. This is why your police are actually going to need more funding. Because contrary to what AOC said, policing's not really working, so we should give them less money. Yes, because if you have something that you're trying to fix, the best way to fix it is to give it less attention and less resources. Makes sense. But this is why you want to give your police more money. This is why not only do you want to, I don't like people say refund the police. No, it's not about refunding the police. It's about giving them more in their budget. Because if you want these little outreach programs, if you want all these little extra bells and whistles, guess what? You got to pay for it. And, look, the community-oriented policing, look, I've read about it, studied it a little bit in college. Yeah, okay, fine. It's been proven to work mainly in smaller places, but I think community-oriented policing is a bit of a far-fetched idea and is a little utopian for a city such as Philadelphia. However, if you want to see those things, that costs money. And you know what else costs money? Counseling. And you know what all these cops are going to need in all these cities? New York, Philadelphia, Seattle, Chicago, Portland. They're going to need counseling. They're going to need serious therapy. Because these people are in something resembling. Just look at the still frames of these pictures. It looks like a goddamn war zone. Getting pelted with bricks, getting ambushed, getting hit by vehicles. In Portland, getting lasers put in their eyes. 100+ days. Could you imagine that cop that's lacing him up every single day, knowing what's waiting for him when he gets to work? The same people spitting on him, telling him he's a piece of shit, telling him they hate him, and a justice system that is either in the bag for them in terms of they're these same radical idiots or too scared to stand up to them. Between the proverbial rock and a hard place. So just being grinded down by this just onslaught of disrespect and violence and unappreciation. So yeah, these people are going to need some serious decompression. These people are going to need some serious counseling. Otherwise, in a hopefully not too distant future where everything calms down and we all go back to normal, and that beat cop who was lacing them up for 100 straight days in Portland, and he's out at a ball game and some little kid runs up and tugs on his shoulder or trips and falls and bumps into him, he doesn't snap, going back to that trauma, pull his gun out and start blowing people away. And then people are like, oh, police brutality. Where'd that come from? As if shit isn't connected. As if we live in a vacuum of individually unrelated, unlinked events. And that's just not the truth. So you want a reason to give these police more money. You want to give, I'll give you two. Number one is because these people are going to need some serious therapy. Just so they can get back to functioning as human beings. Because these are human beings. These are your neighbors. These aren't robots. Not yet. So there's one reason. And reason number two is because if you think that the Philadelphia police, if you don't think their numbers are going to start dwindling over the next few months, if you don't think police across the board, those numbers haven't been steadily waning, if you don't think people are saying, you know what, maybe I'll do something else, not worth it. If I'm going to have to protect myself from a knife-wielding felon and then have to explain why I did it, maybe this isn't the job for me. If I'm going to respond to a domestic violence call only to be ran over by a truck for doing my job, maybe this isn't the job for me. If I'm going to be doxxed by major news outlets and have the DAs let the very people who I arrest right back out, maybe this isn't a job for me. So as those numbers go down, guess what you're going to need? You're going to need more people. You're going to need people to replace this 56-year-old. Guarantee you she's probably going to retire. I doubt, but you never know. But either way, you're going to need people to fill the ranks. And this has become a very, very unappealing job for a lot of people. I'm willing to bet that. So you want two reasons why the police need more money. Number one, again, the trauma that these people are going through. Real trauma, not, fat girl with pimples that doesn't want to say goodbye to her dog for a weekend. Not that bullshit trauma. I'm talking about real mental health issues. Like PTSD from having rocks thrown at you, from having bricks thrown at you, from people pulling guns on you, from people blowing your cars up with Molotov cocktails. And because you're going to need more police. So, anyway, that's what I got for you guys today, man. Something to think about. If you disagree with me, please, that's what the comment section is for. But if you disagree with me on this, I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, you're a piece of shit. Everybody else, I will talk to you tomorrow at a time where hopefully there's no construction going on outside. Until then, peace.